Hi, hello. In today's Billboard Design Thinking How-To, I will show you how you can brand your template. I deeply believe you have to brand your templates for your customers. It forces you to actually look at the website, have a better understanding what they want to do. So what are we going to need for today's session? You can download the template that I shared yesterday about the MVP. You're going to need a click zone if you want to do it virtually. You're going to use Bing for searching for various things that you're going to be putting into the template. And then you're going to use Paint as always to kind of create the visual that you're either going to send to the printer for a physical workshop or extract the image for the click zone. So let's start. If we look at the template, and then what I've seen in many of, let's say, the design sessions I had with clients or colleagues inside of Microsoft, they often say, "Oh, wow, this is actually, do you need to know a lot when you're actually modifying those templates." So here we've got the template, as you can see, and it's a normal PowerPoint template, so that's the one that I shared. And the first thing that I'll share with you is there's kind of a trick, or there's things that are not super obvious. And the first thing is that in PowerPoint, when you actually try to scroll all over to the one or the other end, yeah, there's no way that you can actually grab this image here on the side. So the one default thing that I always do when I start modifying a template is I'm going to take a random object, and in most cases it's just going to be a rectangle here, and I'm going to create a new rectangle, and I'm just going to stretch it over the entire poster. Yeah, so that's the template. And what that's going to give you is when you scroll into and you want to modify, let's say, some details of the template, you can scroll all over to the left to the right side. So as you see, for example, now I can scroll over, I can easily work on this image, I can grab it, and the same is true for the top, for the back. So that's kind of the first trick that I can share with you. The second thing many people are not aware of is that to modify, while this is kind of known, you can go format shape. So this means you can now go and click all of those objects, and you can kind of find here on the side the filling. But the one thing many people are not aware of, there's a selection pan that's available on the side, and this is going to give you access to all of the objects. So why is this important? Because often you have things in layers. So I'll just give you an example. You want to modify this arrow behind and want to change the color, and then the question, where is it? So you simply can go and select everything here, yeah, and then you can scroll down here on the right side and look where it is. And then you're going to see highlighted regions, and here you are. So you found your error, and then you can select it. But this said, let's go back to the beginning and let's work on a fictitious case. So I've been traveling last week, and let's assume that you want to use Power Apps for improving the experience on an airport, and I'll just take a random airport. And I selected Tripoli, and the first thing that you need to go is you need to find some visuals. So I'm just gonna go here and use Bing. Airport. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for logos. You're gonna use or need the logo, and gonna go to the image search. And there's a nice trick actually to go and find images, and you can, for the type, you can go for transparent. So I'm looking for transparent image or logo. I hope that's the last one, not sure, but let's take this one. I kind of like it. Hope it is. What you can see is here, this is a transparent logo, and you can just right click it and copy the image. And then we're going to go back and directly import that image into the poster. Also, one thing to understand about PowerPoint, if you paste an image, no matter where your mouse is, it's always going to paste it exactly into the center. So if you're working in the front or the back of the poster, you might be surprised, like, where is my image? I can't find it. And that's the way you're gonna go and find it. Also, you can just go and crop the image, so we don't need the extra space on the top and the bottom. And I'll use this here. So you don't have to save those logos anywhere else. You just can directly grab them and drag them into. So as I said, branding is super important. So the second thing you should always do is when you're working on branding your poster, go and look at the airline's website. So I'll go back here. I'll just remove the logo here and actually look at the website. Why is this important? Because almost every company will have a vision statement, a mission statement, and you should at least understand what they're about, what's important for them, and just go and skip all of those websites that are not bringing us where we want. This kind of looks like more or less like the original website. And what we can see is we have some main colors here, and I would always kind of go and use those main colors then for the branding. And you can kind of explore like information about the airport and what's important for them. So they said kind of to understand it, the branding should really be from the customer side and it's a starting point. Unfortunately, many websites are pretty boring. You just have, let's say, a accent color on the top, a blue or green or something like that, and then everything is gray. It's a good place also to start with the branding for your poster is that you're going to go and use the logo colors. But before we're going to do that, we're going to go back and find an interesting image. So we said we're going to be thinking about how we want to use our apps to improving the customer's experience. And I'll just go here to the Schiphol airports and I just go again, just use the Bing images to find a nice image. So I'm looking for something where I see many people on an airport. So this is probably good enough. You can spend more time for the branding. Just also be aware that you should kind of look for an image that has a proper quality, and you can go here and Bing, go to the image sizes, and you can see different image qualities. Sometimes it's very pixeled image and that won't work. So I'm just going to go and grab, take the screen grab and copy the image here. And again, just going to directly insert this into the, takes a little bit. Well, then just directly insert this to the PowerPoint. So here we are. As I said, no matter where you're going to paste it, it's always going to put it smack in the middle. So we're going to drag this over here as well. The idea behind the poster is that you actually want to push the messages in multiple layers. So there's a written message, there's an image here, you use icons. Then in the workshop itself, you're going to be talking about the topic. So that really is helpful for people understanding really how this works. To align those different images, I would kind of just look at here in the top, we have this 25 centimeters. So you can also make this 25 centimeters. And then you're going to use the line tool. So this is the background of the complete canvas, which is 329 centimeters. Then you're also going to select these other objects here. And you're just going to go on the top and align everything to the right side, which now you have everything nice. The last thing is you're going to align this to the bottom. And the easiest way is you're going to always select the background and then align it to bottom. So the idea to get stuff aligned in the PowerPoint is this overall background stretches over the complete canvas, and that's going to help you to align all kinds of stuff. So we said we need to change the workshop goal, and to make it meaningful, the question here is going to be how can we use Power Platform? to create better traveler experience on Schiphol Airport. So as you probably know, Power Apps platform is something for a company. So it's nothing you're gonna create an app and push it out and make it available for public. But you have, I just guess they have thousands of employees and maybe do a lot of stuff that you can do. So the nice thing also in PowerPoint is if you're familiar with the Office product, it's easy kind of to play around with text. All of the things that you're familiar, you don't have to kind of learn them from the beginning. So what do we want to focus on in the workshop? And I also often like to create a workshop goal and then talk about what are we going to be focusing on. So let's look at the focusing point and not just put a few bullet points here. So I'm going to reduce this and also kind of, as I said, use those paragraph functions here. I'll just make 6 and 6. So the things we want to focus on is end user experience, um, make travel enjoyable, and give employees easy to use tools. So of course you need to kind of really map this to your use case, to what your customer is asking you to do. And I will just change here in the top the font here. Which brings us then actually to the coloring. As I said, coloring is super important, and we looked before in the website. Maybe I'll go back to the website and also be aware it's not always easy to find the right website that you want to work on. So here we are. And what you can see is here we've got some main colors. And again, I'll just take the color picker to select the main colors. Yeah. So we have the logo here in the top, as well as a background color, and I'll just make this smaller. I'll just dump this in here. So I think maybe the biggest trend in designing your poster or customizing your poster is probably color picker. So I'll take this top rectangle that I used for the navigation and give it the main color. Also, we see we have here a red and a dark blue that we will also use throughout the branding. So going back to the poster, I'll start at the beginning, and what I'll do is I'll take those main colors here and just select the object and go use the color picker to brand this. So take the back color here. Did not work as expected. So here we are. And I'll use this color here, take the light blue color. So we basically have used the colors that we had for, that we took from the logo, and we can reuse those colors throughout. I'm just going to be going from left to right and taking those colors for branding. And one tip about zooming, on the bottom left side you have the zoom button. You're better off using this the moment you try to use a pinch option on your screen. You're gonna see sometimes it simply does not work. So this said, you're just gonna move over the poster and use those main colors for branding your poster. So you see, super easy. You just can click on all the colors that you want to use, all the objects, and just take the color picker again, kind of to reuse it. I think you're better off using just a few colors in your branding instead of using all of the colors here. I'm just extracting the colors from the logo and just reusing them consistently. In the end, it does not make too much difference which colors you're using, as long as it is consistent. It just creates some visual flow that your eye gets used to, and you're just seeing repeatedly the same colors, and it just pleasing for your eye. So, short comment on how to work with tables and also how to work with icons. So as we see here, we've got a group of objects, and if you go here to the right side and you check out, I kind of put all of those objects here into a group. And that's super handy because now I can actually hide all of that and modify the table in the back. Again, I'm going to use some of those main colors that we had before and just brand all of this. The exact details of the workshop and what's behind it and how it should be used. Do a separate video on that, so I'm not going to dive into all of those details now. So after you finished branding the table that you had, and maybe the only thing is I'll do here a change. Use the darker color, and you can switch back and forth between. So if you have both panels open on the side, you have an option here to switch back and forth. And what I like to do is also use the same base color, but then just kind of change the opacity. So here we have 20% opacity. It gives kind of a flow of the same color without having too many colors, which really does not make it very beautiful. After we are finished, we're just going to go here on the side and so we go back to the panel and look for the group that we had before. So we have one hidden group, and now we get all of those icons again. The idea here behind those in this exercise is always to put something in personal. So share the most annoying, let's say, travel experience could be a good one. Travel experience could be a nice one. So in the introduction, you can ask people to write their name and share something that's personal for them to get them kind of into thinking about the topic, but as well also so they can get to know each other and be comfortable having those conversations. So going back to changing the icons. So the nice thing is you don't have to change each individual icon. You can select all of them. So you can make a multi-select on the icons and then change all of them. So the original template I used was from a workshop about marketing, and we were asking about your worst marketing experience or best marketing experience. Now we need something else. So the icon should support the message. You can right click all of that, go to graphics from icons, and what we're gonna go here, look for something related to travel. So let's see what we can find. And might take a little bit. What can we find that's related to travel? Yeah, this kind of looks nice. So what's your best or worst travel experience? Now what you're seeing is that with one click you modified all of those icons. But actually I don't like this icon. I think there's a better one. So let's do it a second time. Why don't I like it? Because it's just too small and it's like really hard to read. and see the visual. So I'll go back here, and I think there's a nicer icon related to planes. So back to the icons, and I'm gonna look for the plane. Yep, here's the night. Just prefer this one here. Also, for the multi-select, if you select multiple icons, you can just change the size of all of them. Yeah. At the same time, I'm just gonna make all of them larger. I just think it's gonna work better, and you don't have to select each individual one. Okay, looks fine for me. On the bottom part, what you see here is in many workshops you have many consultants kind of participating, so you also want them in here. As I said, this is a workshop about Power BI, so and in the beginning we're going to have some like an how-to experience, and the idea would be that, just let me get back the Bing, we're going to be looking for something related to Power BI. So I just went to the Microsoft website on Power BI, and again I'm just going to grab an image, because this is really about storytelling. You don't have to put in all the details, and I'm going to use this image a little bit as inspiration. Also looks a little bit like someone getting a Christmas present, so, and drop that back into the poster. As you already know, whatever you drop in is in the middle, so you need to scroll over or zoom out, and I'll just put this here on top. The other thing is you can kind of try to align all of those things, and I also don't kind of refrain from if the aspect ratio does not like 100% fit, well, we need some more space, so we're just gonna go back and get ourselves more space here. I'm just gonna make this larger a little bit here. As I said before, I'm just gonna select all of this stuff and move it to the left side, and then I'm gonna extend this here to fit over here. That looks nice. And actually here in the back, this object that we have here is just a placeholder, so we can also just take the format painter and copy and paste it, so we have the glow on the image, and we can remove that one on the back, and that's gonna make it easier for us to actually position it here. I'll just stretch the image a little bit, and then without putting too much emphasis on Power Platform, but after all, it is a Power Platform application that we're working on, I'll just beef it up a little bit and go and get myself a logo. So same as we had before, I'm just going to go here, Microsoft Power Platform, and what I'm looking for is logos. And from the images, I'm going to go and go to the images, and again, I'm going to look for something that's type is transparent. So let's see what I can find. This looks fairly decent. I'm going to copy the image again and go back to my PowerPoint and insert it. I'll take the cropping tool again and kind of remove whatever I don't want to have here, and put it here on top. There's also a nice tool many people are not aware of. If you click an image here in PowerPoint, and I'll just bring back format pictures, you have here on the right side an option to play a little bit around with the corrections. So this is a very dark image, so maybe you just want to make it a little bit more lighter, yeah. Or maybe you want to make it more darker, so the icons come out better. So you can play around with this image tool. It's super helpful to change image colors. And what I'll actually do is I'm gonna drag this down here and extend the image. So I want to have more space for those icons, and I'm just gonna go and get a rectangle here, put it behind, and now I just need to give it a color. As I said, the color tool is your best friend when you're going to be customizing your poster. And problem a little bit with this is, since I'm doing a recording, the colors are a little bit, how should I say, strange. So I'm moving this all to the back, but no worries. If back means everything behind the canvas, then you grab it to the back again. And also probably because we're going to need to remove the glow from this shape, otherwise we couldn't kind of extend this. So that would be one option to do it. I'll show you another option that is also super easy and helpful. If we take the complete image and you go back to your paint tool, and we're gonna just drop the image into paint. Now sometimes you just need more space around an image, and a simple way to do it is, first of all, I'm just gonna remove everything that's around that I don't need, and then I'm just gonna flip the image by 180 degrees, because what I want to have is now more space on the top. And I'm just gonna drag it down, so I'm gonna do it like this here, and now I'm just gonna, since this is a pixel image, you can just extend the top. Now it kind of looks like one image. You're going to flip this back by 180 degrees, and you're going to copy the image back. And before you do it, just ensure that you cut off everything on the side, so it looks better. I'll bring this back into the PowerPoint. So in the design process, it often happens that you look at something, you're not 100% happy. So branding a poster can easily take 1 or 2 hours, depending on how diligent you are, how much time you want to spend. But this kind of looks better to me. And again, we're going to use the trick. We're going to bring it all to the back. Since we want to have it in the back, then we're going to select the overall background, bring it to the back again, and now we have it. Those Power Platform images nicely aligned. And the last thing, of course, now we need to drag this back again to line everything, and then we're just gonna cut the poster in the front. So you see there's really powerful options in PowerPoint to do everything that you need from a graphical point of view to get a decent poster and make yourself and your customer happy. So we actually stopped with the branding or changing the colors according to for the no-brainer matrix. So I'm going to zoom in here. Remember to use the zoom function here on the bottom. If you try to use pinch function, it often kind of does not work. So we said how I'm gonna modify those errors here. I'm gonna select all of this stuff. I'm gonna go back to the objects. Gonna go down until I find something that's highlighted. Yep, and here's my error that I want to modify. Once I've done that, I'm gonna go back to the tools where I can now see here the colors, and then I'll just go and take one of those primary colors that I had before. And since we have no green here, I'll just make this gray. So green and white will probably not really work properly. I'll go back to the color tool and to the overview, and I'll do the same for the second object here. So here we are. I'm gonna take the last color. I'm gonna make this gray again. And now we kind of changed those colors in the background. What you see, you also need to be sometimes when you change stuff, you need to check actually if you still can read it, because this won't really be easy to read. So I'm gonna again take the main color that we had here, because we want to rate later on this experience, and I'm gonna change this, drag this up here. Regarding, is it going to increase employees or customer satisfaction on the airport, and what's the business value? Then the background here, of course, just gonna go and color, change it to the correct background color, and you might also want to change the color of this line as well. So all of this is done. So last thing to do is look at all of this ideation template that we had. And this is a little bit a different thing you need to work on, because first of all, you've got groups here on the one side, and then you're also working with tables. So again, the trick is to go and look here in the back where that table is hiding, and you can kind of just check it. Is that the right table that you're working on by hiding it? Yes and no. And here, what we're doing is in the front, we need to we've got a group with all kinds of objects, and again we're going to be looking for that group. Where is that? Here I saw something, and I'm just gonna hide the group number 1, and I'm also going to remove this. Now you have two options. You can either do the operation 5 times, or you can just say, well, it's actually a duplicate of those 5 things. I'm just going to scrap all of this. I'm going to remove it. Do it once and just duplicate it. So what we want to do here is fill the table with the main colors that we have been using before in the header. Done. And I will change this here to idea number 1. So, number 1. And also, when you find a color and you don't have it in your palette, you just can select it, go to more colors. And because I see that here, this is not the correct color, so I need to kind of change this. And then you have the last color that you were working on in the front. Now this looks much better. You can use the Control Epsilon to color the complete table. Here we are. So we finished this one. Now we're going to go back and unhide the group. So we have those objects, and we still have here in the group those small corners that we used for visualization. And we're going to color them according to the background color that we had here. Something went wrong here. Okay. Yeah, so instead of actually grabbing the corner color, I was grabbing the arrow. Done. I also noticed that in the original, I'm going to ungroup this here, because what happened is I was missing 2 post-its. I'm going to copy them down as well. Here. And here in the middle, still need to change this as well, so everything fits. Just be careful when you start playing around with colors. Then of course it might be that the writing or other things that you previously did don't make any sense visually anymore. So originally those arrows that we had were more on the dark side, or a light, let's say a light line in the background made more sense. which is not true now. I probably need to go and change all of this here to give those nice, make them more visible, and just gonna go for a dark outline here. As you can see here on the side, we have here those individual arrows here, and it can be kind of challenging to find them. But we have here an arc, so it's probably this arc here. And when you select it, it's always highlighted. So I also need to color this arc here. What's with this one? We already did it. So we're just missing one straight connector. Here it is. And we changed all of those straight connectors. Also, this image probably is not very visible here. So our happy customers, and I'm also gonna go here. So the idea here in the MVP is that you want to go from idea to converting ideas into business value. This is basically what you're trying to do. And I will also change this, take one of the primary colors that we had, just to make it more visible in your visual. This it. Now we kind of branded one of them, and we just need to duplicate this. So unfortunately, it's not possible to group icons with a table together. So you always have the option, it always says kind of ungroup. So you need to select everything except the table itself and create a group. And now what you're going to do is you're going to select the table. We said we have 5 FTs, so copy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'll just drag the last one all to the end here. As I said before, the easiest way to align it, select the complete background, and then you see it's kind of goes nice to the top. Since we removed the table before, we already know it's going to fit here. And then the thing that we're going to do is we're going to select those tables here. Whatever you paste usually goes on the top. So easy way to select all of those tables and to align them is just use the alignment tool. It seems like I'm missing one of the tables here. So go back here. So as I said, it can be challenging, but in this case, makes no difference. I'm just going to drag it anywhere. It literally makes no difference. So this is my first table, and I'm going to add those 4 here. Now I can align them here, and I can bring them all to the top, and we have everything nicely aligned. So we'll do the same with the groups. I'm just going to drag this group over here and copy it again. And we need one more. And I'll grab the last group, bring it over here. So here we have those small arrows that we had, or corners that we were using. So this is nice and handy for us to get this nicely aligned. And so what happened here is now I tried to align something, but I did not select the right object. So you just Control set and go back. Nothing happened, so no big drama. And I need to be kind of more careful about the groups that I have been selecting here. And in this case, I'll just drag them out a little bit. So maybe selecting those right objects when you're working on them is probably the most challenging thing, but once you get used to that, everything's fine. And we have this kind of nicely aligned here. Still have one problem here, and the problem is as simple as that. that I have too many objects. So bear in mind, last thing. So maybe it's not super easy to do, but the benefit is once you can wrap your head around it, you get the full flexibility. So that means you can really decide how your images are looking like, how you want to come to your customer, what you want to actually present, rather than relying on someone else doing it for you. So, and with it, we're going to align all of this to the top. And now we're just going to drag it to the bottom. Just take the mouse cursor, drag it down here. So as you see, there are very small minor things still missing. Let's say for whatever reason, I didn't capture those two corners here. I'm just going to make a group here and just copy them as well and distribute them. Sometimes when you're kind of distributing stuff or adding stuff, it's easier just to make it easier, drag it down to the bottom, and then it's going to be easier for you to select it and find those objects. So here we are. And now we just need to select those three as well. So select the three in the middle, I'll add the one and this one. And then again, I'll take the distribution tool to put everything where it should belong. That looks nice. So last things we still need to fix and then we're finished. The background of the logo. Here again. So essentially you kind of branded your poster, yeah. Now you can have endless discussions if those colors are beautiful or not, and it's really a question of taste. But in any case, what you kind of achieved is you're bringing something to the customer that he can recognize. Yeah, you took time to look at the customer's website. Of course, in reality, you're going to spend more time doing research, understanding the customer's mission statement and things like that before you can actually create this poster. Once finished, you can actually delete the image on the top. Of course, don't forget to save it. And since we said we're going to have probably some breakout groups, and the one thing I forgot here is we said we have different ideas for the workshop itself. Just waiting for the PowerPoint to save. We need to go here to the back. So when you copy stuff, it's always the interested. You don't forget to update the small things on the top. So this is ID 3, 4, and 5. Which brings us to the last thing, and then we're finished. With the example is we said we want to have breakout groups, and in the breakout groups we're gonna use separate sessions, and I'm gonna go and remove all of that. So the nice thing is once you get used to all of this, you can just copy paste. In this case, what I'll do is you can just gonna duplicate the slide. I'm gonna use the front part. I need this. I'm gonna remove everything in the middle and just drag those 5 ideas to the back. So I'll just zoom in here a little bit. I'll remove this here. Don't need that. here we are, and then I'll just drag this stuff. So this would be then the poster that you can use for your breakout sessions if you have several of them. So let's say we have 3 groups in the room. But you see, once you brand it for one of your posters, it's easy to kind of reuse all of that stuff. So let's, and beware that behind the poster, actually there's always an image or page size of the PowerPoint. In this case, the size is 45 centimeters. As you can see when you select it here, because you can actually set this image to printer. So I'm going to delete the slides I don't need, the old ones in the old branding, and essentially I've finished. So last thing to do here is I'll show you how you can actually send it to the printer. That's the one thing. And the second thing that I'll show you is how you can create your Klaxon image. So to send it to the printer, you just select everything. You're going to go back to your Paint program, open the Paint. Here you are. And paste everything in. Now the nice thing is this is a pixel format, and that means if you send the file to a printer, there's nothing they can do wrong, because you essentially just get pixels with positions and colors. And let's zoom into here. Now you see this is the overall poster. Usually there's small things you need to change, like this is not completely aligned, and you're just going to select everything and just use the left arrow or drag everything over till it's nicely aligned for the top. And the second thing you usually need to do is basically crop it on the bottom. So just take it here, crop it on the bottom. Cropping, and just remove whatever we don't need on the back. I'll just revert this here. And I'll go and save this as version 1. And this is what you're going to send to the printer. Now, how are you going to ensure that the printer actually knows what you want to do? And a simple way to do it, what I do is I go into the PowerPoint, I'll add a new slide, and try to find an empty slide here. Blank, guess this is the one. I drag it to the back. And in the slide, I'll zoom in here. I essentially just create a rectangle, and actually it makes no difference how large it is. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to import, insert the image that I just created. Hope this is going to bring me back to my, here it is. Why is that helpful? Because you need to figure out what's the actual size of that image. So I'm just gonna do it like this here. Add some space, change the color here to white. So printers are often confused. They don't understand what you actually want to do with that poster and what the size is. And now what you're going to do is you're going to check here and change this here to 9 centimeters. This is equivalent to a poster which is 90 centimeters long, or the print size. And then you're going to take this information and add an arrow here in the bottom. So here's your arrow. And now the nice thing is you just need to read here. Yeah. So this is the image size here is 90 centimeters high. So this poster is going to be 67 centimeters, so 6 meters, 6 centimeters long. Huh? So this is a giant, this is a really large poster. So maybe you want to rethink, usually posters larger than 6 meters can be challenging, but yes, it can also work perfectly. And then you just take the same arrow, copy it, and you can write your 90 centimeters in and change it here. So, sorry, 9 centimeters, and turn this here. So this should be pretty obvious for the printer now what you're asking them to do. Because people usually don't read anymore, they just kind of make a first assumption and immediately go and do something. Let's make it super explicit for the printer to ensure that they know what they're doing. And I'll just put on the top print info. So here we are. Format. So print info. I guess here we are. So amount, you want one poster. Type, you want it color. You want to add the size. So this is 6 and 6 centimeters times 90 centimeters. And also think about the paper. It's usually something like 120, for example, 120 gram per square meter is a good choice. Yeah. Then when you actually send an email, you just send the printer this information. There's really nothing they can do wrong. Technically, that's all you need to do. You take this image, send the PNG plus this information to the printer and tell them this is what you want actually have. So we're finished with the PowerPoint. Last thing I'll show you is then how to create the klaxon. So we have here the klaxon. In order to create the klaxon, we still have to look at two things. We have to create the image. So just let me fetch this back here. Here we are. And we're going to cut the image into 4 parts. So this is number 1. I won't go into all the details, but just showing you how simple it is. Control Z. Cutting out the middle part of this here, so I'm going to go to here. Turn by 180 degrees. Revert it once more and save this as version 2. Choose your 1B. Cut this here after 2. So only thing you really need to remember is where you're cutting those images apart. Where you do it technically makes absolutely no difference. Here we are. And one more left to go. Control Z, Z. And rotate 180. Also, when you design your poster and you want to use it virtually, kind of have some thoughts about if you're using light or dark background. I prefer the dark background, so lighter color is actually nicer to use. And the last thing that we still need is we need to the thumbnail for the klaxon. If you're gonna have a virtual one, and the way I'll do this is just open the first one and take the paint to, so we have here Power Apps, so just take this image here, drag it over beneath the workshop goal, I have here a workshop goal, resize all of this here. Again, no use to wasting time making things super perfect. Decent is good enough. People are just obsessed with everything needs to be perfect and just wasting much time in their life. So what does it tell you? It's the customer, what are we actually trying to achieve in the workshop? And then I'm just gonna crop this here. I always save this as X, GPN, X. And ready we are for creating the klaxon to have a nice workshop. So opening the klaxon, going to new, opening the board, adding the image here, which will bring us to our X image. Give this a name, so this is FAQ 002, how to brand a billboard poster template for a customer. I will create this here. You go to the options, ensure that you disable the images and the locking for the users. Go to locking the background. I'll just like it dark. And then we go and import those 4 images. Click on the image import option here on the side. Select the 4 images that you created and import them. So the nice thing is you can drop all of the images at once, and you use here in the top, there's a line tool to arrange them. You're going to zoom in. And the last thing you need to do to have your nice image here is just move everything over here. Oops. Scroll over. We have 2 left. So you're essentially just clicking those images and using your left and right arrow. Here we are, left side arrow. And here again, right side arrow. And you're kind of finished with that. Yep, technically you're finished. Yeah, 2 things still you need to do is select everything, make a group, almost forgot that, and write your first test image here. Yeah, so let's go here and write the test. So just ensure that those images fit here, because you see this is much too large, it doesn't even fit in here. So you're just gonna grab this, bring it to the bottom corner and pull here to enlarge the image. Still need to make it a little bit larger. So here we are. I just give it a more space. So the logic behind this is you want to avoid that each post that people drop into the klaxon needs to be kind of resized. That's gonna be really super annoying. So once you have this, you have the option here to lock it. And the second thing you should do in any case is kind of drawings, images, and shapes. Just lock all of them. Yeah, that's all you need to know how to brand a poster. to show up at a customer with something that fits to their organization. High level, what we're doing is thinking about how we could help travelers, how we could use the Power Platform to create value for the employees. We're going to have a very short introduction saying hello. We're going to be asking for new ideas that drive agility, flexibility, and innovation. We're going to create three different groups that will be using those posters. And maybe one last thing, interesting thought is sometimes you can get away if you're going to have multiple breakout groups, not to create an own image, and I'll just show you what I mean. So I'm going to unlock this. I'm going to copy all of this here. And imagine you have one ideation session for the individual groups where everyone is participating. So you're looking for common ideas and going to ungroup this. And what I'm basically going to do is I'm just going to move this image here on top. I'm going to bring it to the top here, or I'm going to send this one. I'm going to remove this one, bring this one to the top, and then I can just reuse this for having, let's say, 3 breakout groups that are all going to be working on their individual ideas after we have a common ideation. Yeah? So I'm going to group this here. Yep. I'm going to use the line tool and the distribute tool. So as you see, we're finished. We did everything we need. We have a main poster for the workshop. We know who's participating. We're going to have ideas. Then we're going to have 3 breakout groups coming back with hopefully 15 fantastic ideas how the travel experience for end users can be improved in Amsterdam Airport. So thanks for listening. Enjoy branding your billboard posters. Much success with your workshops, your customers and clients. And I hope you're creating huge amount of fantastic MVPs in the future. Have a nice weekend. Bye bye.